Glossary of Geographical Terms Part 2. Ephelian, the position of the Earth in its orbit when it is at its greatest distance from the Sun. At its nearest distance from the Sun, the Earth is said to be in perihelion.
Apogee, the position of the Moon or any other heavenly body, when it is at its greatest distance from the Earth. At its shortest distance from the Earth, the Moon is said to be in perigee.
Asteroids are planetoids, minor planets revolving around the Sun between the orbits of Mars and Jupiter.
Atmosphere, the envelope of air surrounding the Earth. The most abundant among its constituents are nitrogen and oxygen.
Atoll, a ring or horseshoe-shaped coral reef.
Attrition, mutual wearing down of rock particles during transportation by wind, water or ice.
Aurora Australis and Aurora Borealis, the light phenomena seen in the sky at night in the higher latitudes of the southern and northern hemisphere respectively. Aurora comprises an electrical discharge and is usually accompanied by a magnetic storm.
Avalanche, a large mass of snow and ice at high altitude, sliding down slope on a mountain. Usually a large amount of rock material is also involved in an avalanche.
Ozonal soil which has not been subjected sufficiently to soil-forming processes and thus has changed little from the parent material. Such soils do not have a mature profile.
Barometer, instrument used for measuring pressure, a self-reporting barometer giving a continuous record of pressure conditions in the form of a line graph is called a barograph, and the graph thus provided is called a barogram.
Barosphere, bathysphere or centrosphere, inner portion of the Earth below the lithosphere or outer crust.
Base level, the lowest level to which a river can deepen its valley. It is the level of the surface of the water body, a lake or sea, in which the stream finally falls.
Beach, a gently sloping strip of land along the coast. This lies between the high and low tide levels and is formed by depositional action of waves.
Bearing, the horizontal angle between the direction of an object and the meridian through the observer, measured in degrees, 0 to 360 clockwise from the north.
Beaufort scale, a scale identifying wind strength. The lowest point on the scale is 0, which refers to calm conditions, and the highest is 12, referring to a hurricane.
Biogeography, study of geographical distribution of plants and animals. Biosphere, that portion of the Earth and its environment occupied by various forms of life.
Blizzard, a storm of powdery snow in the polar regions. Bog, an area of soft, wet, spongy ground consisting mainly of decaying mass and other vegetable matter.
Bora, a cold and often dry wind experienced along the eastern coast of the Adriatic Sea.
Bore, a high tidal wave causing backflow of water in river.
Caatinga, thorn forest of Brazil.
Canyon, a narrow, deep, steep-sided river valley cut in the soft rocks.
Cape, a headland, a more or less pointed piece of land jutting out into the sea.
Cardinal points, the four main directions of the compass. Cartography, the art of drawing maps and charts.
Celestial equator, the imaginary circle formed by the intersection of a plane through the center of the Earth perpendicular to its axis and the celestial sphere.
Celestial sphere, a sphere of infinite radius having its center at some point in the solar system, for example, at the center of the Earth, onto which all members of the solar system may be projected.
Chaparral, the low, dense scrub, characteristic of Mediterranean type of climate regions.
Chronometer, an accurate timekeeping instrument.
Climate, the average weather conditions of region throughout the seasons.
Climatology, the science studying climates and their influence on other components of the environment.
Clinometer, an instrument used for determining the difference in elevation between 2 points.
Cloud, a mass of tiny water droplets or ice crystals formed by condensation of water vapor in the atmosphere.
Condensation, the process by which a substance changes from vapor to liquid.
Condensation nuclei, microscopic particles having an affinity for water. These serve as the nuclei for the formation of raindrops. The presence of these particles in the atmosphere is necessary for condensation to occur. Coniferous, cone-bearing plants with needle-shaped leaves.
Condensate water entrapped in the interstices of rocks during their formation. Also called fossil water.
Convection, the uplift of air as a result of surface heating or instability due to other reasons. Generally this term refers to vertical movement of gases in contrast to advection. Convection currents, due to instability in air, some vertical motions in the atmosphere are set up which are more or less in the form of currents. Coral, a kind of rock formed of polyps forming reefs in the oceans. Color of the sky, seems blue because of the selective scattering of light in the atmosphere by gases and dust particles. Deciduous forest, consists of trees that shed their leaves in the dry season. Downs, grasslands of Australia. Denudation, wearing away of rocks by various agencies like wind, water, and ice glaciers. Eclipse, partial or full obscuring of the moon. When the Earth comes between the sun and the moon is called lunar eclipse. It occurs usually on the day of the full moon. A partial or complete obscuring of the sun because of the presence of the moon between the sun and the Earth is called the solar eclipse, and it occurs on the day of the new moon, that is, on the day the moon is not visible.
Ecliptic, the apparent track of the sun throughout the year is a result of the motion of the Earth around it. The plane of the ecliptic is the plane passing through this path and is coincident with the plane of the Earth's orbit.
Ecology, studies of organisms in relation to their environment.
Edapathic, relating to soil.
Thank you.